Welcome to Relevant Rants and my friend Mike Harvey.
What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Good morning. Good Friday morning.
Hope they're up like we are, Mike.
I mean, it's 9:30 on the West Coast, so it's like noon. I hope they're up.
Yeah, I know. You got to keep track of it. So we're glad you joined us today. We got a couple things we're going to talk about at high level that's going on around our country, and we're going to rant about a few things. I'm keeping a watch on that Fannie Willis thing, because that's pretty interesting this week. You got a DA who's having an affair, kind of a weird deal with the guy she hired, kind of a thing. And
are you surprised that there's more corruption in the government?
Oh my gosh, because I guess she got upset yesterday and said it's all a lie.
I'm done.
And it's so funny when people get the beans spilled on them. And there again,
beans.
That's right. It's a bad word for you today. Inside joke. So, but she got upset yesterday because, she wanted to, she's a DA. So, she was on there giving testimony. She felt, she said, I'm not being prosecuted, but I think, maybe she should.
Yeah.
There's enough there that makes me go, I mean, they lied about the affair when it started, not the affair. Everyone said, well, we came out clean, but not when it started. So there's some deceit there.
Well, the thing is, I think, Tom, honestly, and I think I can legitimately say this, there's really two standards of justice in this country, right? Because you look at, okay, so we take, for example, I mean, how can you not do this show without talking about Biden, right? So the meme I sent you yesterday, they're going after anybody that they can on the conservative side, and to talk about whatever, right? Let's take a moment to reflect. What's going on here? This is a fun part about doing a live show. Anyway, we just roll with it.
I'm almost closing on a home in Nashville, and I've got phone. Mike saw it this morning. Hey, if you've ever dealt with escrow and things like that, you'll know. I mean, I think they take DNA, blood, and urine and colonoscopy
or vitamin C bottles.
That's an inside joke too.
Another inside joke. Anyway, maybe y'all can be on the inside someday. But I think look, this is somebody that came against Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take the two standards of justice. You look at they're persecuting Trump over records that he was lawfully allowed to have, and they came in like what the secret police to this place. Then they have Joe Biden, who he's not competent to stand trial because of his senility, but yet we still allow him to continue to run the government.
Well, they basically say he committed a crime, but we're not going to charge him
because he can't stand trial because he's too senile.
Yeah, but since Trump is cognizant, I guess that's what they're saying. So if
but if he's cognizant, why is he running the country if he can't stand trial but he can run the country? Like, how is the one that's way more weight than the other one the one that he's allowed to do? Because he's not actually running the country anyway. Yeah. There's he's just a puppet. Somebody else is pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well, there is a double standard, and we see it playing out right now. So with this, there again, I've always said, hey, this is where I'd like to go, is innocent before proven guilty. I mean, that's basic, law principle, right? And as they're releasing some testimony, and I guess this comes from a friend of hers, says, oh no, this relationship was going on a lot longer than they admitted.
But how can she say, hey, I don't want to take any more questions? Like, how is that a legitimate stance?
Well, it is, because if you have things to hide, I think that's appropriate. But if you don't have things to hide, I think you can come out and say it. But there again with Biden, I think sometimes we're presenting both. We're not saying Trump's all that, but we got a couple of videos we want to show you today.
I think that's a great point, Tom, because I think because I talked to, how many people do I talk about all the time about this? I talk to a lot of pastors, as do you. Yeah. And one of the things that inevitably comes up is there's fringes on both sides, and we get that, right? We're very patriotic. We're very pro-America. That doesn't mean we're the fringe and we worship at the altar of Trump, right? Because we know he's a man. Or
even the GOP or the Republican. We have friends on both sides. But I think the main key is be honest.
Yeah.
And I think we appreciate that. And I do believe that if somebody is trying to be honest, like our friend Mike Boudreau, which is,
You got that right.
yeah, I did. I love, we have about 3 shows with Mike Boudreau.
About an hour and a half worth of footage.
Yeah. And we're trying to balance it out because Mike Boudreau is the Tulare County Sheriff, and he's running for CB20. That's Kevin McCarthy's congressional seat. And so is a friend of ours, Vince Fong, and we're very friendly with both. But something came out in Kern County just this week where Kevin McCarthy and our DA, Cindy Zimmer, who's been on our show, came out and supported Vince Fong, which is a friend of ours and a friend of our show. My daughter interned for Vince and Kevin McCarthy. And so as we had Kevin McCarthy endorsing Vince and Cindy Zimmer endorsing Vince Fong, then we had Sheriff Donnie Youngblood and Assemblywoman Shannon Grove endorsing Mike Boudreau. It's almost a split now,
It is.
but down the middle. And, as we've got footage with Mike Boudreau, I text Vince and Shannon this week and threw a text out to Kevin and just said, hey, love to get you guys on the show.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to try to do that while you're doing business down in Tennessee and
Florida.
Yeah. So I'm
country.
staying back trying to get some shows out there for you guys just to get some balance to this CB20 congressional race, which I think's as important locally here in Kern County as it is nationally, because I do believe Kevin did a good job. I really do. I think he got a bum deal that
way major bum deal.
Yeah, that made him step out as Speaker of the House. I do. And he resigned. And so now we're electing, and there's kind of a weirdness of that. They're going to fill his time till 2024, and then they're going to.
Well, there's 3 elections.
I know. Mike, I'm not even sure I got that straight in my
No.
head. I know we're doing one on the 5th, and I think we're doing another one on the 19th, but we'll let that go. So
and then we're doing another one in November.
I know. So we're gonna play a video. So don't tune us out in the middle of this video, please, because it ends up well. I think it's very well spoken.
Because of all of the great things he did for Black America in just 3 years. He funded an executive order to research why Black women have a higher mortality rate during childbirth. He funded opportunity zones in minority neighborhoods so that more Black and brown people can create small businesses. He passed prison reform that reversed unjust sentences, and over 5,000 Black men were released from prison. He historically funded the HBCUs more than any other president before him. He invited hundreds of Black people to the White House and had them pray over him. And that's why I'm voting for Joe Biden 2024. Oh, wait, that was President Trump. Joe Biden just funds war.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because when you really hear it presented that way, it makes you go,
Well, and the narrative they're trying to tell is exactly the opposite, right?
Well, I think Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of friends come unhinged on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have a lot of Black friends, and we have a lot of Black friends that didn't vote for Joe Biden.
Yep. And a lot of didn't vote for Trump. I get it. I get it both ways. I'm just saying that, if we want to be fair out there, we got to realize that we got to vote for the best candidate that supports our views. And here you have a representation of what was in office versus what is in office. And they're representing themselves as a friend to the African-American community. When you actually look at it, Trump was a better friend to the African-American community. And Joe Biden hasn't done a lot, unless you're out there and you think the economy is doing well. That's what we're being told. We should be grateful to the economy.
I think another word for that is delusional.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the gas station the other day, and I filled up my truck, and it was $129, and I was like comparing that to when I was in Tennessee, which I've shared on our shows.
Less than half that
in July, and my son-in-law who has the same model truck that I have, same gas tank. It was $60.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, if our economy is doing well, why the difference in California, unless you just look at California, and we have a great governor here, and he doesn't even understand why things aren't good. And if he just asks me, he could call me. If you're out there and you want to call me, just call me. And basically I'll just tell you that we have minimum wage, which is $15 an hour. I'm not saying
going
that's
up to
good,
20.
but yeah, it is. And so we have a higher minimum wage out here. Then we have gas, which is higher because we have special taxes on our gas, and it goes to different things. And so that bumps our gas up to make it more like double what you get in other states. Then you have food costs because there's got to be transportation involved. There's got to be employees involved. So that makes sense why our things are more expensive out here. So you're just seeing that the economy is not as good as we're being told.
But Tom, I think you're presenting a little bit of a fallacy, though I agree with you. The fallacy is based on California, the economy. So I don't think that's necessarily evidence of the economy being poor, because California prices are higher. California prices are always higher. However, I do agree that the economy is in poor shape. We're spending much more on groceries in California than we were still in California a year ago and 2 years ago. And like, if you go back to like 2019, it's been massive price increases. So I think that's a more relevant comparison, Tom.
Well, I would agree with you, Mike, and I do agree with you a lot of times. Sometimes I disagree. So, but I do believe if you go out there and you compare it to last year, then there may be a difference. I mean, there again, as my gas was expensive yesterday, it was still over $4, but it wasn't almost $5. It was $4.14 versus $4.89, and I don't think that's
there's more money left at the end of the paycheck than there used to be.
Yeah, and we had that one video that we talked about last week playing, and the one guy said, "All I know is I had money in my pocket with Trump, and I have no money in my pocket with the current administration."
Right.
So let's let Joe Rogan put this together for us with Governor Newsom.
President Newsom either. Nobody believes in that guy. That guy's a fucking con man. Everything he did in California, from trying to mandate vaccines for kids to being caught public without a mask and lying about the fact that he was outdoors. Yeah. Nobody believes in that guy. He's just a politician. Just a stone cold, narrative driven politician. Nobody thinks he's a real human. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's corrupt or not, that's a human being. You know what that guy is. Same thing with RFK Jr. Whether you believe that he's correct about vaccines or whether you believe his policies would be effective, and you know that's a human being. With Newsom, you got like this construct, this cardboard cutout of a person. I don't think people want that, but they might want it more than they want President Trump. Nobody wants President.
I think that's the whole story. I mean, you see Newsom, and if you're out there and you think Newsom does a good job, just look at California.
Right.
Homeless, it's a wreck. Crime. What was it? We had was it Boomer on our show talking about how all there is for sale signs or businesses closing in downtown San Francisco.
Yeah,
and that's Newsom because he was the mayor in San Francisco. So you've got to be able to put San Francisco in the lens of all this, and it's doing terrible. And you've got to put California in a hole on the table and dissect it and look at it, and it's doing terrible.
Well, not
education.
Look at their prioritizing non-citizens over citizens, and even to the point of having non-citizens enforce laws upon citizens.
And how in the world is that even legal when you have to take an oath to the Constitution?
I'm pretty sure it's against the Constitution.
Well, so I don't know if you saw this last night, Mike, because Newsom has tried to twice now ban guns to be carried in public places like churches and libraries and parks and things like that. Twice has been overturned. So yesterday, our great Governor Newsom of our great state of California, or Chinafornia, which we like to call it, said he's going to, there's a bill being introduced, and it's always great because they have somebody from Burbank introduce a bill. I think it's Burbank, might be, one of the other counties down there. They introduce a bill that's going to cause us every year as gun owners to pay a tax and for it to be recorded. And if you don't think they're going to take that information and use it, then you're just delusional and just kidding yourself.
Use it against you.
Yeah. Well, why should you have to pay a tax on a gun? I mean, is that constitutional? I mean,
no.
I mean, it's one thing to pay it when you're getting it and have the background checks. I'm all about that. But every year, that's kind of extreme, And so as you're out there, and if you're looking at California, look at the constraints that we have here in California. And do you want that on a federal level?
Yeah. So I got a question. When we get to the point in California where it's nothing but illegal immigrants and homeless people, who's going to pay the bill at that point?
That's
the conversation that Davey and I were having yesterday.
Well, my wife, who's a superintendent in the California educational community, and They were told last year that they had a big windfall and a blessing of, I think it was like some $60 billion.
Uh-huh.
Well, this year they had a meeting and they were told, if you're expecting any money to come from Sacramento, the spigot is turned off. That's basically what they were told. So how do you get from one to the other? Do they have is there a bad accountant someplace?
Yeah.
I was like, way, yay. I mean, if I came home, my wife said, hey, spend all the money you want. We got a windfall. And I went out and did. She goes, well, what are you doing? We don't have any money. I go, whoa. You told me that I could do that. And I would go out and spend it on shoes at eBay. I'm sure. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
But my wife, we would have an issue at home, Mike.
Yeah.
But Governor Newsom can do it and say, we got a windfall of $62 billion or whatever the number was. And now we have a deficit of 30-some billion. I was like, whose mistake is that? Because that person should be fired.
How did we ever spend that by that many
Well, shouldn't that person be fired?
Yeah.
And I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I'm saying we should probably know, hey, that person made a mistake. They forgot to carry a few zeros.
I think we tried to fire Newsom.
We did, and he just got elected again. They changed that too. They changed that again. So they're going to make it harder to recall and re-elect. I forgot what the details were. But
at what point do we just crown him Emperor of California?
Well, I think it's a one-party state, and then we realize that when the dictator of China comes and he cleans up San Francisco.
Yeah, the party is the CCP.
So there again, if you want to see California, just go out there and look at what we deal with on a daily basis. And I did hear some good news last week, Mike, that I don't know if maybe the Democrats are leaving the state as fast as Republicans, because the Republican Party has grown in California.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And so, of course, can you trust polls? I mean, I don't know.
What is the old saying about statistics?
People who use statistics are liars, and statistics lie.
Yeah.
You can skew them any way you would like.
But I wouldn't be surprised if liberals are leaving California, because I don't care what party you're for.
They have a
you can see
pocketbook
that's
too.
Terrible, right?
I've got a lot of friends that are more liberal or progressive, whichever word you use, on social issues, and they're complaining to me about their pocketbooks just like everybody else is. They are.
Why wouldn't they be?
Some of the guys that are my age, older than dirt, are retiring. And, and a lot of people know what my position is. I mean, I'm never going to retire, but am I going to push the Social Security button? Absolutely.
Well,
because,
you should get that.
Because this generation is paying into it.
I'll never see that.
Well, Mike, if the system works, we were told that we're investing into it, but we really paid into it for the people. My last 40 years of employment paid for the people who were there.
Of course.
So now my daughters and their friends are paying for mine. So it's just a big Ponzi scheme. So
it is.
Your current money pays the old investors. It is. It's a Ponzi scheme. So, but that's not my thing. I mean, they put it in place because people didn't have savings, and thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we got another video we want to play, because it brings into perspective something that's going to happen in November and March. So, even with all the voting that's going on. So let's go ahead and play this.
42,000 people in Nevada voted more than once, according to your work in this. 42,000 people. 1,500 people voted in Nevada that were dead. 19,000 people voted though they did not live in Nevada and they weren't a college student. 8,000 people voted from a non-existent address. 15,000 people voted though they were registered to a commercial address or a vacant address, and 4,000 people voted in Nevada that are non-citizens. My question to you is, in my state, when someone votes twice, and we do have that occasionally, and about 50 times a year that actually occurs in our state, we prosecute individuals that vote twice. Of this 130,000 instances that you have identified from the 2020 election in Nevada, do you know of any prosecutions currently going on in Nevada for any voter fraud?
Not yet, Senator, and that's extremely important.
Not yet.
Isn't that a great answer?
The real answer is we have no intention of prosecuting them, because they'd be prosecuting themselves.
The answer is no.
Right.
It's a big flat in Oh, it knows
Ain't gonna happen.
it knows an acceptable answer. I've learned that a long time ago. But then you got to ask the question, why? Knows an acceptable answer, but the why is the real reason why they aren't doing it, because they like it, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said,
130,000 people. That's a lot of people.
yeah.
There's some cities that don't have that population.
Yeah.
And so as you go out there,
Quite
and
a few cities.
this is the state of Nevada, which, I mean, I don't, I mean, they've got two big cities, right?
Yep.
They got Las Vegas and Reno, and then they've got some, little ones. There's Trump. As you go
Trump.
Trump. Did I say Trump?
You said Trump.
Oh man, I got Trump on the brain. Trump. Yeah, and that's where people go to buy fireworks that are illegal and bring them into California. And there's a few other things that there's offering there. It's Nevada.
Extracurricular activities.
Right. What's the saying about Nevada? We got a church there, a great church there off of Sahara Boulevard.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas?
Yeah. So I think that's true about DC. What happens in DC stays in DC.
I guess.
I don't know. But here we go. 130,000 voters, and you got somebody who's recognizing it. And then when he's asked, are you prosecuting anybody? He says, no.
Nope. We have no intentions of
No, I mean, so he gave us the answer. No, we don't.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if you play that tape out, he said, but that's a big problem. Because if the hands there again, I mean, we could play. I love this montage video that's out there that talks about, because they talk about Trump saying there was voter fraud. But if you go out there, and one day we should play that, but it's too long. There's probably 3 minutes of nothing but Democrats and liberals complaining about the election in 2016.
Let's just edit it down to 30 seconds.
Yeah. Everybody freaked out because it was Donald Trump that won and Hillary Clinton lost. Even Hillary Clinton came out and said it was fraud. Then you had all the other prominent Democrats saying,
what did I say at the start of our broadcast?
It's a two-tier justice. It is. Yeah. And there again, you vote for who you want to, but the consequences are dire. I think you have to vote for people that have results. And if you think that this administration's had results,
they've had results, just not good ones.
And I do agree with Gavin Newsom on one thing. He says that everybody's in their own echo chamber, and that's a dangerous thing. And I'm like, that's true. I'll parrot that. Everybody that's out there, but I like to listen to CNN. Mike, how many times do I come with CNN clips here?
Every week.
Every week I come with the CNN clips. Like we love to play it. MSNBC. We love to play these clips because they're not coming from a persuasion that we buy into. They're coming from a different persuasion that other people want to buy into. So it's like, hey, let's listen to them say that. Mm-hmm. And they're coming out really hard on two things this week. One is the document that Joe Biden had in a torn box in his garage, which he denies is there. And I'm like, wait a second. How do you deny that? There it is. And it's his DOJ that's saying it. But they're saying, you're a nice old man, so we're not going to prosecute you. Right. But Trump's an old man.
Actually, what they're saying is you're not competent to stand trial. But you are to run the country.
But they're saying Trump is competent to stand trial. Am I getting that right, Mike?
Yeah, well, I think Trump is competent to stand trial. But you're either competent to stand trial and you can run the country, or you're not competent to stand trial, and therefore you shouldn't be running the country. But you can't do, well, you're not competent to stand trial, and you can also run the country.
If I use your logic, am I saying they are saying, and that's the Biden administration run departments is saying, you're not competent to stand trial, but you were guilty. But then they say, Trump, you are competent to stand trial, and we're going to press this. So who do you want running the country? Somebody who's not competent, somebody who is competent. So then that brings in another question that a lot of people are posing out there, not just the right, but the left is, then why should we keep letting him run the country?
We shouldn't. If
that's what they say. And every day he wakes up, I think he has the power to push a button, right?
Maybe.
He goes, hey, what's this?
Right.
Remember the time, Mike, we were backstage. I'm going to throw this in here, lighten the mood up. Remember that time I was backstage on Easter and I was plugging in things and there was a plug not put into a power strip and I was going to plug it in and our friend Ernie Waldo was like, don't! And I stopped because it would have it would have shot off the confetti cannons in the middle of Pastor Ron's sermon.
Oh my gosh,
They-
that's funny.
Ernie had it, which Ernie, he's a very bright guy, had it so he just had to plug that in and it would shoot the confetti off. But I was over there going, I wonder why that's not plugged in. So I'm hoping that scenario doesn't happen to the nuclear box.
Oh. It might. Who knows?
I'm being facetious because there's some security measures that would have to be done before that. Right?
Of course. I would certainly hope so.
I hope so. Me too. So if you're out there, we are opinionated. We are,
Clearly.
we do have an opinion on who we would like to see run the country. And we want somebody who's cognizant, and we want somebody who has proven policies. And we would like somebody that maybe is a real human, like Joe Rogan said.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'd prefer they weren't a jerk, but
Yeah.
you can't have everything, I guess.
Yeah. You can't have a competent person and not have mean tweets. I think that's
Apparently.
I think that's the way it is. So hey, if you're out there and you disagree with us, where's Larry? Where'd Larry go? Well, there's Billy Elliott.
Our
I
man
love
Billy.
it. Billy Elliott.
What's up,
My
brother?
mama lives in Pahrump.
It's a nice
It
town
is.
to
I didn't
visit.
say
Nice
it
and
wasn't.
quiet.
I just didn't say it was a big one, Billy. Hey, Billy's got some great information. I'm going to brag on Billy real quick because we had some prayers for Billy. If you're out there, Billy, hey, you had a great visit. There was a lot of thought that he had some bone cancer, and through prayer, I believe this man has got a miracle in his life because it's not bone cancer. And Billy, I hope I'm okay saying that on air. But
there was a big question mark going off in my head. I hope he's okay with that.
well, I just love it because this prayer works.
It does.
And Billy and I talk about it all the time, and you and I talk about it all the time, Mike. But you need to be specific about your prayers.
True.
Because when God answers them, you want to know that it's His hand that's been involved.
Amen.
So, hey, if you guys are out there, give us a shout. Larry, you just went off the radar, I guess.
He just came in to troll us, and then that was it.
I liked it though, Mike.
You do like it.
I do like it. You there again. I've got thick skin, and my first career in bodybuilding.
We gotta have thick skin, Tom.
My first career in bodybuilding, when people started writing that I wasn't that good, and I guess I wasn't. I did pretty good. I mean,
you got some awards.
Yeah, I got a lot of awards. I won a lot of state and national titles, and
a couple people know who you are.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, like Paul said, I consider everything before Christ rubbish.
Right.
And my life in Christ is
anyway, guys.
Fulfilling.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless.
God bless.